Hi guys, it's Dr. Angus Pike here again from What Actually Works. And recently we had a discussion about some of the signs that you may well be sleep deprived and not actually be aware of it. And I got some great feedback that many people not realizing that so many things could come from not getting a great sleep. And I got some great questions about, well, how do I go about getting a great night's sleep? Because so many of us actually find it really difficult doing one of nature's most basic things. And so what we're going to talk through is some of the strategies that I have dealt with clients over the last sort of 10 or 15 years that can make a tremendous difference in how you sleep and the quality of your sleep as well. And I think the most important thing when it comes to sleep is there being really consistent sleep and wake times. And so for many of us, we have a sleep and wake time that happens during the week and then a very different one on the weekends from there where we stay up half the night and then sleep half the day away. And when we confuses the body because in years gone past, sort of generations ago, our sleep times were very much directed by sunlight. So we went to bed as it got dark and then we got up in the morning when it got light again. And whilst I think there's some room to move around this, when we vary our sleep patterns day in and day out, it really throws the whole body out of whack from there too. And many of you will have heard of circadian rhythms. And these are the rhythms that are run by certain different parts of our brain and different hormones throughout our brain. And they're very, very fine-tuned. And so getting consistent sleep and wake times is super, super important. And that'd be the first test or thing that I would suggest from there too. And the second is this, is keep the bedroom for sleep only, okay? And what I mean by this is that don't go taking work to bed. So many of us will hop in there with our laptops and we'll start tapping away from there. And again, if we set the bedroom up for a place of rest and respite, then it starts to tune the body into it. So it's important that we keep the bedroom dark and quiet. And so if there are light that gets in there, that if you live in a busy area where there are street lights, then good blinds are really important too. And do the best that you possibly can to keep that room as quiet as you possibly can also. The next thing I'd suggest is that you need to really minimize your stimulation after dark. And so coffee and sugar, and again, perhaps not having your food too late in the evening from there. And if you like to read in bed, which I do, I think it's important that your reading be relaxing reading, not stuff that's likely to get your brain all fired up. So if you're reading the report that's due at work the next day, something that's going to rile you all up, then again, that's not the sort of thing that's going to switch your brain off and have it prepared for rest from there as well. So keep that stimulation down to an absolute minimum when you hop into bed. Now, there's lots of different conversations about whether you should be watching television or not in bed. And I guess I kind of sit on the fence on this. It would depend on what you're watching on television. If it's a kind of relaxing documentary, then that might be something that kind of prepares yourself for sleep. But again, there's not a lot of that on television nowadays, and most of the thing is going to be winding the brain up. The other thing that I think that it's important to do, and the one thing that I notice with my clients that have real difficulty in sleeping, and when I ask them why it's they just can't switch their brain off. And when there's lots going on in our mind, I think there's some real importance in taking a moment before going to bed to actually do a brain dump, to decompress whatever's in there. And I think this tends to happen in one of two forms. So if your brain is chewing around a to-do list of all the things that you need to do tomorrow, then it's going to keep that brain spinning around because it really doesn't want you to forget what has to happen tomorrow. There's important things that need to be done, things at work, at home, picking the kids up, taking the kids to and from their sports. So take a moment to actually prepare a to-do list. Getting Things Done is a terrific book, and the guy, Alan, whose name will come to me in a moment, he talks about the power of taking things from your mind and putting it onto a piece of paper. And as we take that step and put it onto a piece of paper, it really allows the mind to relax. And there are other times that our mind is spinning around, not with a to-do list, but there's just a bazillion things going on through our mind. And taking 5 minutes just to write these things down, some of the challenges that are going on. You might be worried about what's happening at home with the kids. You might be worried about the mortgage payment that's coming up. You might be worried about things that are happening with your partner in your love life. And so just taking a moment just to share that pen and piece of paper can have absolutely enormous impact on just getting that out of your brain. And literally, I've seen people who haven't been able to sleep for years by just doing this really simple process make a really profound difference also. The other thing that you need to think about too is the mattress and the pillows and stuff that we have, like everything that we've got going on, they need to be changed. And I think a new mattress every 6 to 8 years is the very longest that I'd want to go. And when you think of of the amount of hours of use that our bed gets, then it's important that we change it. Now, certain signs that our mattress needs to be changed, when we start to have kind of dents and indentations in it, then that's certainly a sign for change. And you'll get a lot longer life out of your mattress if you're regularly rotating and flipping it from there too. But our pillows are something that need to be changed even more frequently, 1 to 2 years. Absolute tops from there too. I've been told and read in different times that after 12 months that there are more kind of bacteria and germs stuff inside our pillow than there are on top of your toothbrush. So it's a warm, moist environment. We get hot and sweaty with our heads from there too. So it's a perfect breeding environment for bugs, both in our pillows and in our mattresses. So every 6 to 8 years for our mattress, and our pillows every 1 to 2 years as well. It's important to think about our sleep posture as well. And sleep posture is not something that has to be complicated at all. It's never good to sleep on our tummy. When we sleep on our tummy on our bed, then invariably what has to happen is we have to have our head turned and cranked one way or the other. And what this means is that we're on our tummy for, even if it's just for an hour, if our head is turned to the side from there, it's going to bring tension into your neck, and you're also going to probably feel that right the way down to your lower part of your back as well. So sleeping on your back or your side is really the way to go here, and a good quality fitted pillow. And when it comes to pillows, I guess it's not important what the pillow is made out of, but the pillow needs to be the right size. And if you imagine that you're lying on your side, then your pillow needs to fill the gap between the side of your head and the bed, and not allow your head to, if your pillow is too small, then your head will be bending down. And if your pillow is too big, it'll be lifting up from there too. So if you match that pillow position on the side, then that's probably going to do you perfectly on your back as well. So here's the tip I think of when you think about sleep posture, is that your head, your shoulders, your hips and knees should be all facing the same direction. And so if you're lying on your side and you want to curl yourself up into a fetal position, then that's fine, as long as you're not twisting your shoulders forwards or backwards, or your hips forwards or backwards. And the same thing goes when you're actually sleeping on your back. So many people find it comfortable to have a pillow underneath their knees or on their side, even in between the knees can be super helpful from there too. But remember, head and shoulder, knees and hips all facing in the same direction. And my last tip here to really help keep your sleeping patterns on track is, I think it's really a great idea to get an early night once in a while. And I came upon this purely just by accident. We were away on a family holiday one time, and we got booked into a hotel room where everyone was in the one room, and we put our kids, because they were kind of quite young at that stage, I think they perhaps would have been 4 and 6, and so we put them to bed early, thinking that Linda and I would wake ourselves up afterwards, because they wouldn't go to bed if we wouldn't go to bed. And as it turned out, we all kind of fell asleep by 7:30. And I've got to admit, when I woke up the next morning, I felt more revitalized and more energized than I had in a long time. And that sense of vitality and energy was something that actually lasted for weeks afterwards. And so kind of once a month, I love to get a really super early night from there. I know it's boring, it really is, but it makes such a difference to my energy, my overall health and well-being. And we talked about on our previous post of just such an impact that poor sleep or sleep deprivation can have on your health and well-being. So I think this is kind of not much of a price to pay for great health as well. So again, I'd love to know the kind of things that work really well for you for sleep, because I hear all different kinds of quirky things on a weekly basis that work for all different of us. So I'd love to hear your comments as well. So again, this has been Dr. Angus Pike here from What Actually Works, sharing simple, proven and effective strategies this time to help you get a really great night's sleep. So we look forward to seeing you soon.